would be out-rebounded, Kansas out-rebounded, and be here on the victory side of the bracket. We've also got to look at the point guards, the experience of B.J. Armstrong versus the inexperience of two junior college players, Otis Livingston and Lincoln Minor. Danny Manning, you've got to keep him under 30 if you expect to win the big game. This is when Manning plays well. And obviously, who will panic first? Yesterday, the stun and run offense of the Hawkeyes the last 12 minutes got that victory. And we'll be back with more right after these local messages.
To the second round of the Hawaiian Airlines Maui Classic. Today's game features the Jayhawks of the University of Kansas versus the Hawkeye of the University of Iowa. And now, the starting lineups for Kansas. At guard, 6'3" junior from Houston, Texas, number 11, Lincoln Minor. For Iowa, at guard, 6'2" junior from Detroit, Michigan, number 10, B.J. Armstrong. For Kansas, guard, 6'3" sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 14, Kevin Pritchard. For Iowa, at guard, 6'7" senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 14, Bill Jones. For Kansas, at center, 6'10" junior from Detroit, Michigan, number 54, Marvin Brandt. For Iowa, at center, 6'8" senior from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, number 44, Al Lorenzen. For Kansas, at forward, 6'6" senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 23, Archie Marshall. For Iowa, at forward, 6'5" junior from Flint, Michigan, number 23, Roy Marble. For Kansas, at forward, 6'11" senior from Lawrence, Kansas, number 25, Danny Manning. For Iowa, forward, 6'6" senior from Wichita, Kansas, number 40, Kent Hill. The coach of Kansas, Larry Brown. Coach of Iowa, Tom Davis.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back with the tip-off after this on the Hawkeye Sports Network. At 11, Iowa 30-5. Two great basketball schools representing two outstanding conferences. Great basketball traditions. There are the Jayhawks. There are two brand new players in their starting lineup who were not with them last year in Branch and Minor. Both are junior college transfers. Of course, Iowa dressed in the white uniforms with a veteran starting lineup, but still a lot of players not experienced in a starting role, like Al Lorenzen, who did not start at all last year. And of course, Roy Marble has been inserted into the starting lineup today after coming off the bench yesterday.
Reason for that, rebounding. Jeff Moe, no rebounds yesterday. Moving Jones, hoping to get more rebounds from that off-guard position.
Marble bats it away. And so it will be. Iowa with the basketball, deflected by Archie Marshall after Marble had hit it towards him. Number 11 is Lincoln Minor. That's a battle of good point guards. Minor is 6'3". B.J. Armstrong is an inch shorter. Both blessed with extremely excellent quickness. So it'll be interesting to see that battle develop. Number 40, Kent Hill. Of course, he's a native of Kansas, so this game has got to mean a little something special to him. Jones fumbles the pass. Here come the Jayhawks. Ahead for Branch. He tries to save and cannot do it. That Branch, just a super athlete. 6'10.5", 225 from Detroit. For 6'10.5", he runs the floor well.
He does that, but he had trouble yesterday. Just 16 minutes and 5 fouls. Look for the Hawkeyes to try and go inside, get him in foul problems again.
One thing you can expect from Iowa today is to try to work their offense a bit more than they did yesterday in beating Stanford 78-75. Lorenzen puts Iowa into the lead to start the ball game. Lorenzen a dozen points yesterday, and he has his first shot to go down, and it's Iowa on top.
You'll look for the Hawkeyes to pressure right away. They found out yesterday that it was the intense pressure of their stun and run that got them back into the game. In the first half, they were not able to have that intensity. Stanford really took control of the game early.
Bill Jones, who played well yesterday, picking up the game's first foul. Larry Brown, an excellent career, has never coached a losing team, and that goes back to 5 years at Kansas, 2 years at UCLA, plus some stops in the ABA and the NBA. Lincoln Minor, that's Marshall. Inside, that is Branch. And going high for the rebound, Kent Hill, B.J. Armstrong, and again, it's important that Iowa hit the boards well. The dish to Marble, a travel is called.
No, they're going to give a foul, I believe.
Actually, both. One official said travel, one official said foul, and we'll take a look and see which came first.
You've got Armstrong penetrating, driving hard, something he didn't do early. Good jump stop, goes up, looks to pass off to Marble on the inside, and they are going to give that travel call. I didn't exactly see it. Tom Davis is saying, wait a second. Let's discuss this a while.
Now understand, these officials have not worked together before, so they're having some problems communicating. By the way, they are Jim McDaniel, who works Southwest and Southeast Conference games, Joe Shosett, who works Colonial Conference games, and a local official, Brian Sioki. And that is Jim McDaniel there, who is trying to get things explained. The traveling call will be the rule, and so it will be Kansas basketball. Tom Davis wants to make sure what the situation is. No, they have called a foul on B.J. Armstrong.
Now they call a charge. I'll tell you, that replay didn't show me much of a charge.
Tom Davis looks like he agrees with your sentiments exactly. So Marshall inbounds, and Kansas comes up the floor, trailing by a count of 2-0. Inside Branch. You'll notice Kansas does not have the ball in the hands of Manning yet. Pritchard misses. The follow is no good by Minor. And again, a defensive rebound by the Hawkeyes. Here's Jones. Forward yesterday, more of a guard today. Lorenzen has his pocket picked by Manning. Manning against Armstrong, and the game is tied.
Great hands by Manning. Lorenzen, slow to move the ball up into shooting position, just got stripped.
They say, what can Danny Manning not do? Well, one thing we know he can do is dribble like a guard. That time he brought it all the way up the floor himself. An excellent dribbler. They say he can play some guard. Armstrong against Minor. Kansas now tags back on their defense. It's Marble inside. And it is rough under there already. Oh, Matt, this is no place for the faint-hearted underneath the boards at either end. Both teams have been told you did not rebound well yesterday. You better do it today. And both teams are going at it from the start.
The first time ever a Tom Davis team at the University of Iowa was out-rebounded yesterday by Stanford. Certainly not an outstanding rebounding team. And Larry Brown told us before the game today, his weak spot he thought was rebounding. Obviously that was true yesterday. Chaminade, 17 offensive rebounds, no starter greater than 6'6".
Michael Reeves, an excellent game yesterday, inserted into the lineup. He had 7 points and 4 assists in just 20 minutes of play, and also did an excellent job on Stanford's Todd Lichty. So it is Reeves into the lineup, replacing B.J. Armstrong. Game is tied at 2. 2.5 have been played, and Manning has got both buckets for the Jayhawks of Kansas.
Good ball reversal that time. Manning had really sealed off. Lorenzen had no chance to get around in front of him.
Lorenzen playing outside today. Last game against Stanford, he was inside, but today he is outside. Hill against Branch. Marble. Lorenzen. He's got the first basket. Can't buy that one. Contact underneath.
And now Ken Hill and Branch have a few words. A lot of pushing going on underneath between the two of them.
That is the third foul whistled against the Hawkeyes, while the Jayhawks have not been assessed with a foul. So Ed Horton comes into the lineup to put the muscle up front. Horton, 6'8", a junior from Springfield, Illinois. 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in 16 minutes yesterday. Kind of an off and on game for Ed, who still doesn't have his conditioning back from that sprained ankle he suffered. Here is Lincoln Minor. A foul is called on Kansas on Archie Marshall. That's the first foul called on Kansas.
They will count this basket. Shot taken from 17 feet. Lorenzen coming in, and Horton in good position gets pushed. And they could almost call Pritchard for hanging on that basket as well. A lot of action.
So 2 baskets by Manning, an outside jumper by Minor. The Jayhawks have opened a 4-point lead. Reeves, number 11, paired against number 11, and number 11 for Kansas, Lincoln Minor. Lorenzen, a 3-point try. With the rebound, Lincoln Minor, the Jayhawks in a hurry. Pritchard in deep. And more violent action underneath the basket as Pritchard tried to drive.
It's going to be a charge. Coming inside, 3-on-1 break for Kansas. Actually, a poor choice here. Pritchard could give it up to anybody else. He tries to jam over Reeves. Reeves, who was really a catalyst yesterday, got an outstanding opportunity there to take that charge.
That was a big play by Reeves. That was a very smart play. So Iowa down by 4 as Lorenzen in traffic tries to move around Manning. And Lorenzen working against Manning, quite a challenge for him, and he's been looking forward to it. The foul called on Danny Manning, and of course, one of the hopes that Iowa has is that Manning will get in foul difficulty. For that reason, they plan to try to work the ball inside.
Early in Danny Manning's career, that was a problem. His freshman and sophomore year fouled out quite a bit.
Marble, hammered from behind by Branch. 4 team fouls have been called against the Jayhawks. 3 have been whistled against the Hawkeyes.
Iowa has very good inbounds plays. Just a lay-down pass to the inside. Marble pumping it up. No question, Branch says you're not going to get the easy layup. But Branch also, obviously yesterday, had that foul problem, fouling out. And he's an interesting story, Branch. Went to junior college. In fact, he redshirted 1 year in junior college, which is a bit unusual. Has just 2 years left. He signed with Pittsburgh originally, but when Mr. Charles Smith stayed at Pittsburgh, they released him. He went to Kansas.
Marble, 1 out of 2 from the line. That's something that the Hawkeyes did extremely well yesterday, hitting 16 of 18 free throws in the second half. In fact, that was really important, considering that last year, Iowa was worst in the conference in free throw shooting. Marshall can't buy it from outside, but Branch chases down the rebound. Look at Manning handle the ball very well for a man his size. Marshall, Minor, Pritchard. Pritchard, a good 3-point shooter. This time he penetrates. And the sophomore from Tulsa, who was an all Big 8 conference freshman selection, makes it 8 for 3. Minor, Pritchard. And Kansas almost had another opportunity, but picking the pocket was Michael Reeves, and he has already done a fine job at the defensive end of the floor.
Well, it was a foolish pass on the Hawkeye turnover, and Reeves gets it back. Reeves trying to just really calm down the Iowa players.
Inside, Branch trying to prevent Horton from running across the lane, and Branch has picked up his second early foul. So, Mac, you cited yesterday, in 16 minutes, Branch, number 54 for Kansas, fouled out. He's already drawn his second foul, so he will go to the bench, and we'll be back in just a moment. More exciting basketball from Maui on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Conclusion of the game, True Value Hardware will make a donation of $500 to the Hawkeye Fund in support of intercollegiate athletics at the University of Iowa. In case you missed the lower bracket last night in this tournament, it was Illinois over Baylor, 73-50, and Villanova advanced to the semifinals against the Fighting Illini with a 70-53 decision over the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Look at Tom Davis talking to Michael Reeves, telling him how good a job he did, what he needs to do when he gets back in the game. Armstrong going to have to continue that point guard play.
Horton muscles into the lane. And Manning clears the rebound for the Jayhawks. Kansas up by 5. Pritchard on a breakaway inside Marshall. Rebound by Hill. And now the Hawkeyes are running. Armstrong pulls up, loses.
That was a travel not called.
Jones! The first basket for Bill Jones, who clicked for 17 yesterday. Larry Brown is irate about the missed traveling call. Number 44 into the game for the Jayhawks, a freshman, Mike Masucci out of Grandview, Missouri. He was highly touted.
Good shot by Manning at the top of the key, taking charge early.
Manning has 6 to the first 10 for Kansas. Jones answers with his second bucket in a row for the Hawkeyes. And Iowa's back to within 3 of the Jayhawks, who are ranked number 1 in the country by Basketball Times and in the top 10 by both wire service polls. Marshall misses. Hill another rebound. He's doing a job on the boards. Moe, who started yesterday, inserted into the lineup at the timeout. And on the drive, a push-off is spotted. A player control foul called on Moe.
Right now, Kansas is doing an excellent job getting down the court offensively. Hawkeyes not getting back. Numbers advantage have been to the Jayhawks. That time, Moe trying to create a positive situation.
One of the emphasis on the rules this year is for less conversation between the coach and the official. Obviously, Larry Brown wants to get his 2 cents in. Horton nearly a steal, a collision with Marshall, a foul called on Horton, and a technical foul has been whistled. No, excuse me, no technical foul. It looked like Larry Brown was going to pick up one. The official warned him, did not actually give him the tee.
And what Larry Brown is still mad about is B.J. Armstrong went up for the shot. The ball went up in the air. B.J. caught it coming down. That is a travel. There's no question. That's not an interpretation. And Brown wanted the call.
Number 21 into that Kansas lineup, Milt Newton. He is a junior from Washington, D.C. Archie Marshall comes out. 14-17 left to play in the first half. Kansas on top by 3. Pritchard.
Outstanding jumper. Outstanding jumper.
Iowa now has been assessed 5 team fouls. The Jayhawks 4. That foul a moment ago on Horton, his first. That is Ed with the ball. Manning's now got him defensively. Inside Hill on the drive. And he got clipped on the way in.
As you look right now, the Iowa perimeter players are quicker. Horton gets it to Hill. Hill just a quick little look. Gets right by Masucci. Has the opportunity for the layup. Horton, Hill, Marble, Jones are all quicker with that first step than the defense of the Kansas Jayhawks.
And I believe it was Newton who got the foul, helping out from the left side as he tried to drive. You see Horton taking a seat on the bench as Lorenzen will come in. Larry Brown still jawing with the referee. Kent Hill, a native of Kansas, so this ball game certainly an important one to him. Yesterday he had 6 points and 7 rebounds. From the free throw line, he is 0 of 1 yesterday, so he has improved that today. And Iowa continues to do a much better job on the foul line than they did before.
Pressure setting up. Iowa trying to get the 5-second count.
Manning against the pressure. Up front, Pritchard, an excellent outside shooter. He proves it right there with his 3rd basket. Pritchard last year averaged 9 points a game as a starter as a freshman for Kansas, and 6 already today. Marble in traffic. There were 3 Jayhawks around him, but Roy put it in anyway. His first basket. Manning, Pritchard for 2 in a row. The follow shot put in by Otis Livingston, who just came in for Kansas, a junior college transfer out of California.
And no rebounds again by the Hawkeyes. Offensive rebounds by Kansas.
Kansas by 5. 13-15 to play in the first half. Armstrong leaves it short, and it's run down by Otis Livingston. Livingston, excellent job for Kansas in his debut yesterday. 5 out of 5 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the line, 12 points, 4 assists, and no turnovers in a dozen minutes. So that young man with the ball, Livingston, lived up to everything that Larry Brown had hoped for in his debut. Here's Manning.
That jump hook shot is the best in college basketball. Danny will take it anywhere from 12 feet on in.
Manning has got 8. Marble counters for Iowa. And Roy has hit 2 in a row and has 5 points for the game.
Kansas is asking Danny Manning to do an awful lot in this game. He has to break the press.
Pritchard again. Boy, he has no hesitation to shoot, does he, Matt?
Well, he shouldn't. He's had a good game. He's put it up and made him.
Armstrong is called for the foul.
On that drive, Armstrong had Moe in the left corner all by himself. Moe ready to shoot the 3-pointer. Armstrong put it up.
This will be the second foul on BJ, and Michael Reeves will take his place. So for Iowa, Armstrong, the first player with more than 1 foul. For Kansas, Branch is on the bench with 2. Jayhawks lead 18-13, and they'll play it against full court pressure. Mike Maddox has come into the lineup for Kansas. He is number 32, and you see the Jayhawk fans with interesting headgear.
Manning had to sit down. He was just getting too tired out there. They used him to break the press and set up the offense.
Gasucci throws it away. Reeves after the steal from Moe. Lorenzen will try it.
Get in, ball. No.
A traveling violation on Al Lorenzen. And now Tom Davis is up, saying, I can't believe it. He's just shaking his head back and forth. He finds that hard to believe. So neither coach has been happy with the officiating.
And now I do believe a technical. It looks like on Al Lorenzen.
Tom Davis, very upset with the technical foul whistled against Al Lorenzen. So the Jayhawks, leading by 5, have a chance to pad it.
Lorenzen being talked to by his teammates, given support. They feel that it was not a good travel call. And now Tom Davis talking to some officials, trying to plead his case, get support. We'll see if there becomes a call in Iowa's favor.
Pritchard misfires on the technical foul, and so now it will be Kansas ball from the midcourt line. Mark Jewell, number 32, has come into the Iowa attack. The Jayhawks, a 5-point lead in the ball, just over a dozen minutes left to play in the first half. That is Newton, inside Masucci, the freshman. And Iowa comes out with a rebound. Reeves leads the Hawkeyes down the floor. Jones. Jewell just inserted in. Is Lorenzen taken out to try to cool off. And inside, beautiful move by Bill Jones.
Jones can take Masucci to school anytime he wants to.
3 buckets for Jones. And a violation is spotted against the Jayhawks, trying to work against the Iowa pressure. The pressure creates the turnover.
5-second violation. The man has to touch it in bounds within 5 seconds. And now the Kansas Iowa players pushing at the free throw line. Separated by the officials and teammates.
This ball game is being played with all the emotion of the game in March. And we'll return to the fray from Maui after these local messages.
Starting this game where he left off yesterday, he had a tremendous line yesterday. 6 for 8 from the field, 5 for 6 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds. And this afternoon, he has already gotten 3 for 3, 6 points for Bill Jones. And again, he can take his man inside. Nobody's able to stay with him now.
Remember last year, plagued with injuries, Jones, his high game, 10 points twice. He had 17 yesterday. Look at the action underneath as the turnaround by Horton bangs in Horton's first basket, and Iowa's back to within 1 of the Kansas Jayhawks.
And he scored against Manning, one of his good friends.
The Jayhawks making the offensive transition well. The collision between Horton and Newton, and the foul is called.
On this, it's a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 break. Horton gets a running jump to go up to block it, catches it against the glass. A good block there, but body contact. But again, the Hawkeyes do not get back and support the back man, Ed Horton.
Horton's second personal foul. 11:30 left to play in the first half. A 1-point lead for the Jayhawks. They tried to add that. Milt Newton on the line. Was not able to play yesterday, sitting out a 2-game NCAA suspension involving reimbursement for some travel expenses that Kansas paid, and he later paid them back. That was a minute violation, so he had to miss the Italian inter-squad or exhibition game, and he had to miss their opening game. So Newton seeing his first action of the year. He's a native of the Virgin Islands and plays on their Pan American team. Marble with the rebound. Now there's something, Mac, that Iowa did poorly yesterday. Get rebounds after free throws shot by the opponent, but they're doing a good job early today.
4 times Stanford got their own rebound off their own free throw.
And Newton is guilty of a holdout foul. And so for Milt Newton, his second foul, the Jayhawks have now sent the Hawkeyes into the bonus with 11:17 left to play in the first half. Kansas leading by a bucket at 19-17. Davis, Armstrong, and Moe on the Hawkeye bench.
Once Marble was able to make contact, in fact, once any good offensive player makes contact with that defensive player, low on the block like that, the defensive player really has a difficult time getting around. The only thing that could happen there was a foul, and Marble drew it.
Larry Brown, 6th highest percentage among Division I coaches with 5 years or more experience. Iowa changes. Jewell and Horton come out. Lorenzen comes back in. Also back into the attack for the Hawkeyes is Kent Hill. On the line, Marble. He's 1 for 2 thus far.
And if the Hawkeyes make the second free throw, they will set up their full court pressure. Lorenzen on the ball.
And if they make the second free throw, the game will be tied.
And you will look for Danny Manning to break that press again. They give him the midcourt area. He comes to the ball. Either his ball handling or his 6'10" height will enable him to break it. And again now, Larry Brown trying to get clarification. He wanted not a two-shot foul, I believe.
By the way, the man seated to Larry Brown's right is Ed Manning, the father of Danny Manning, who came as an assistant coach with the Jayhawks when Danny was recruited. Marble takes the free throw. The game is tied at 19.
And look for Manning to be the support person.
Against that pressure, Pritchard is deep. And the Jayhawks transitioning very well the last two trips down the floor.
They are transitioning. The Hawkeyes are not. They are not going from offense to defense.
On the drive, Jones. And he forced a foul as he tried to work his way to the inside. B.J. Armstrong comes back in for Iowa.
You're going to have to expect the Hawkeyes to really...
There's Ed Manning, who we were telling you about, the father of Danny Manning. Used to play for Larry Brown and with Larry Brown back in the old ABA days.
On that Hawkeye defense against the press, they are going to have to come back and take a charge or two as they are not recovering to the passing lanes.
Jones steps to the line, his first free throw opportunity. Last foul on Pritchard, his second foul. And the front end of the 1-and-1.
And again, Jones taking the defender to school. Pritchard not able to stay with Jones.
Kansas will make a change. Pritchard now with that second foul leaves the lineup. Lincoln Minor comes in to take his place. Minor, a starter, played for the National Junior College runner-up last year. There is Pritchard, sophomore out of Tulsa. Good player. If Jones hits this one, the score will be tied for the second time. Hill, strong move for the rebound. Blocked by Masucci. Iowa another chance. Great effort by Roy Marble, but he traveled. And the Iowa bench doesn't believe it. Iowa bench cannot believe it. Let's see what you think.
Hill goes up and gets this offensive rebound opportunity. Puts it on the floor, slapped away. Now Marble, step back, step up, no travel. Pivot foot was there the entire time.
Newton travels, and so as he comes across the midcourt line, the pressure put on by Iowa forces him to travel. A swap of turnovers. Iowa gets the ball back. First, Larry Brown will make a change, sending Jeff Gelder into the lineup for the first time. He is a sophomore letterman from Charleston, Illinois. 6 foot 5 inches tall, averaged 2.3 last year for the Kansans.
The keys we talked about at the top of the game. Who will panic first? It may be the officials.
I tell you what, neither coach is very pleased with the work thus far. Armstrong gets inside. Good entry pass from Lorenzen.
Iowa has done a much better job of running their quarter court offense. Shooting percentage is good, but they have 7 turnovers already in this game.
Iowa has the lead for one of those few times in the ball game. For the most part, they've been playing from behind. 33 is Gelder, who just came in. Number 12 is Otis Livingston. A turnover there will give the ball back to Iowa.
Iowa zone defense using a 3-2 where Roy Marble comes out on the point and the 2 guards just didn't pay attention to the pass.
7th turnover against Kansas. Iowa has been assessed with 8. Hawks try to build on their 1-point lead. Marble dumps it inside for Jones.
The body contact, they're really respecting Bill Jones. That time a double team the minute he got it.
Lincoln Minor with his first personal foul. So now 3 Jayhawks have 2 apiece. Newton, Branch, and Pritchard. As far as the Hawkeyes, 2 Hawkeyes with more than 1. Armstrong and Horton. The point guard and the head coach confer. While Jones steps to the line, he has popped in 7 already.
And Tom Davis talking to B.J. Armstrong about getting back, giving support to that back person on the press. That's Armstrong's responsibility.
Now it's Iowa by 2. The winner moves on to the championship game in the Maui Classic against the winner of the Illinois-Villanova game. Lou Henson's Illini putting on an impressive show with a 23-point victory over Baylor last night. Jones has got 9. and the Hawkeyes had their biggest lead.
The Hawkeyes don't put pressure on the ball. They come after every receiver and try and deny them the passing lane.
Minor to Masucci. He traveled. It was not called. Manning. Now the Jayhawks spread it out just a little bit. They're taking a look at Iowa in that zone and trying to be patient and attack the zone. Manning. Kept alive by Masucci, and now Hill comes down with it. Slapped away from him, back to the Jayhawks.
Ken Hill's game is not being a guard, and he tried to find some support people. BJ was blocked off by a Kansas Jayhawk.
Certainly the tempo of the game is what one would have expected.
There's no question this is up and down the court.
Livingston dishes at the last moment, but charges on the way in.
It's what Coach Davis talked about less than 90 seconds ago. To stop that fast break, somebody has to step in and take a charge because we're not getting back, stopping the passing lane. Ken Hill, listen.
And with 9:17 left to play in the first half, and Iowa leading by 3, Armstrong will get a rest. Jeff Moe comes into the lineup to take his place. So now Reeves moves to the point, and Lorenzen will inbound.
Kansas may pick up at midcourt. They do the North Carolina run and jump trap, in which they will take the ball to a side, and then they'll try and trap it in the corner of the wings.
And of course, Larry Brown plays for Dean Smith, and that's where he picked that up. Masucci on the steal, but can't get the handle, and so here come the Hawkeyes. But Marble throws it back, and it's hot potato time as the ball goes back and forth. A traveling violation is spotted as he tried to come out of there with the ball, and so Iowa retains it.
That was nothing but just a track meet without a basket.
Lorenzen will trigger. Iowa trying to build on a 3-point lead. Marble goes up in a forest, and Mac, one of the more impressive things about Iowa is how many times that inbounds play is productive, either in a basket or at the minimum in a foul, as Masucci picked up the personal foul.
Iowa is one of the best teams in the country at scoring off their inbounds play, and they have one for every player using their abilities. So you'll see Moe set up for that three-pointer. You'll see the inside people get set up.
That just takes hours and hours of work.
And great execution. That was not there yesterday against Stanford. The execution of the quarter court offense, much sharper, much crisper. A lot of it due to the fact screening is much better today.
Do you think that's just due to a lack of nerves about everybody having a game under their belts?
I think a lot of it is that, and the fact that a lot of these people yesterday really were uptight about playing Stanford. They knew it meant a lot to Coach Davis to beat Stanford. And also the Stanford Cardinal, they wanted to show Tom Davis how good they still were.
That was Livingston, who took a seat on the bench, as Archie Marshall, who started but really never got into the flow of the game, is back in. A lot of perspiration on the floor, and there's a good reason for that. There have been a lot of bodies down there. It's also a very warm and humid gym. Hawaii's temperatures in the daytime hit the 80s, but the gym is not air conditioned.
Hawkeyes 9 for 11 today from that free throw line.
Boy, that's encouraging after last year, isn't it? Marble with his 9th point. He and Jones had 18 of Iowa's 26. The Jayhawks down by 5, their biggest deficit of the game. Manning. And when he has the ball with a little bit of daylight like there, he's virtually unstoppable. Marble gets blocked. The Jayhawks trying for 2 buckets in a row. Manning again.
That was about 4.5 steps. That's an NBA layup.
Well, he's just getting a little free practice because you know he'll be there someday soon. Horton has the ball taken away by Gelder, who also fouls. First foul on Jeff Gelder. And Horton will go to the line, trying to add to the 1-point Iowa lead.
You see the block, just a spike, a volleyball spike. Manning gets on that left wing. He gets it 1, 2, 3 little steps, 4, up. Finally got it in, right in front of the Iowa bench and Tom Davis.
Not a great pass by Minor, making the Manning drive all the more impressive.
A little off balance, that's why he had to take those short steps.
Horton with 3 points now as he sinks the free throw, and the Hawkeyes continue to do a fine job at the free throw line. 89% yesterday, including, as I mentioned earlier, 16 of 18 in the second half.
When Horton makes this, see if Ken Hill goes on the ball. see if he takes it away.
Good call, Matt McCausland. That's the way, buddy. 29-25. Now Larry Brown is unhappy with his own people and knocks him into the striped shirt. Pass flag down by Marshall. He can't hang on. Traveling violation as Iowa tries to bring it up the floor, though, until Kansas will keep it. 8:06 to play. First half, 29-25 in favor of the Iowa Hawkeyes. The feed comes out to Nasucci. Nasucci, only a freshman, highly recruited out of the Kansas City area from Grandview, Missouri. That's Lincoln Minor. And from the wing, the shot is good. A three-point shot. Good by Archie Marshall. That's his first basket of the game. And it pulls Kansas back to within one. Horton. And the foul is called on Marshall. Or rather on Manning. On the rebound tussle, Manning got tied up with a teammate, and then when Iowa got to the ball, the push-off was spotted. Second foul on Danny Manning.
Missed free throw. Deflection. Hill just picks up the ball. Easy layup. Kansas player not taking care of that basketball. And there will be a technical on Larry Brown. Two-shot technical.
Well, Larry Brown has been on the thin line of getting one for a while, and now he has got one. So both teams have been assessed with a technical foul. Lorenzen for Iowa, Larry Brown for Kansas, and look at that record. Very, very impressive, including 46 in a row in Allen Fieldhouse.
Jeff Moe will shoot his foul shots first. Then Iowa will have the election of picking someone, and it may be Jeff Moe to continue at the line. This is a big turnaround point in this first half.
Iowa by 3 as Moe hits his 2 shots. And as long as he's got the rhythm, Tom Davis tells Jeff, go ahead and shoot the tees.
And Iowa will get the ball out of bounds.
So it's the potential of a 6 or 7 point switch if you factor in the 3-point goal. Well, Iowa's made the most of it thus far. These free throws, Moe's only points of the game. He had 9 yesterday.
14 for 18 from the free throw line in the first half.
Iowa by 4 and the ball at mid-floor. The first timeout will be taken. And we'll be back from Maui right after this on the Hawkeye Sports Network. In beating Chaminade, Kansas had 21 of their 34 baskets that were either layups. As you take a look at, there's Rodell Davis. We'll get back to that thought in a moment. And Curtis Cuthbert, a couple of freshmen with casts on their hands. Rodell on his right hand. That's a basketball injury. He's broken a bone between his thumb and his finger. Now, Cuthbert, that is a beach accident. He hurt it swimming.
He went swimming 2 days ago and broke his hand. He will be out 6 weeks. So 2 freshmen down for a while. It leads one to possible thinking of red shirts. We'll have to see what happens.
Hawkeyes fall on a 4-point lead. In fact, the point I was going to make is, yesterday Kansas had all their success inside. Today, they're scoring from the perimeter. Iowa's success comes from inside. Does that surprise you?
Well, it doesn't, because Kansas man-to-man defense yesterday was rather porous. They allowed Chaminade, the 6'6" center, to get 18 easy opportunities inside. And today it's showing up again. Kansas has to show up their interior defense.
On the other hand, here's Moe. And he continues to have problems with long range, but Jones comes back. 11 first half points for Bill Jones. And Iowa's got their biggest lead.
And he is perfect from the field at 4 and 4.
Manning in traffic. Pretty good dribbler for a 6'9" performer, isn't it? Moe on the fast break. And going high for the tip, Bill Jones.
That was a very good move by Jeff Moe. He saw Manning coming, knowing he could not get the shot off. Manning would reject it. He goes under the basket and used it as a support person.
Mizuchi from short range, and it's Jones with a rebound. He's doing it at both ends of the floor. Bill Jones really putting it together. A 13-point first half is Hill.
And it better be timeout by Brown.
Iowa right now threatening to blow the Jayhawks off the floor, so Larry Brown responds with a timeout. And we'll be back after these words from your local station.
He was really concerned about his point guard play. Lincoln Minor, Otis Livingston, not doing a good job of running that team. They're relying on a center or the forward, Danny Manning, to really run the team. That is not a good position to have your point guards in. It's early in the season, but one of those junior college point guards are going to have to come through for Larry Brown in order to get to Kipper Arena next April.
The point guards who led Kansas the last 2 years and led them to the Final Four 2 years ago have graduated, Cedric Hunter and Mark Turgeon. Turgeon, by the way, is a graduate assistant for Larry Brown.
And Cedric Hunter, the all-time assist leader in the Big Eight.
The Jayhawks down by 10 as Iowa with one of their patented spurts. Minor has it roll off, and Hill is really hitting the boards hard, but Minor comes back up with it. Minor bangs the floor hard.
Not a good pass or an outlet here by Hill. He gets a strong rebound from the wing and just flips it up. There was no way that was ever going to get to Jeff Moe. Now, Minor drives, and Lorenzen just takes him out on a good, clean play. Good help by Lorenzen. And you can tell Minor knew that was not an intentional foul to hurt him. Got right up.
For Lorenzen, it is personal foul number 1. Minor misses his first, but comes back to hit that one. And so now the Iowa lead is 9 with 5:51 to play in the first half. Moe behind the three-point barrier.
Kansas trying to overplay those passing lanes. That's one reason they're weak on their interior defense.
Jones, Moe. Armstrong trying to go against Minor. Moe for 3.
First patient by the Hawkeye.
For Jeff Moe. Iowa with their biggest lead. And yet another turnover against the Jayhawks, forced by Hawkeye pressure. Moe for 2 in a row. 8 points for Jeff Moe. And Moe, who struggled yesterday getting the ball to go down, has got to feel good. And you know, with that enthusiasm, he always shows the waving of the fist. You can just tell what he's thinking, I've got it now, it's back.
Coach Davis feels Jeff Moe is much better coming off the bench.
Marshall. And Marshall bangs it in from the long range. His second three-point goal of the game, and so it's an 11-point lead.
Jeff Moe's ability to hit the outside shot created that opportunity. Kansas came up on him quickly, drove by, gave a little flip pass inside the Hill.
Lorenzen checks out.
Moe goes to the bench, and the coaches very happy with what they saw in that last series.
He really provided a spark. One good outside shooter leads for Iowa. One enters for Kansas in Kevin Pritchard, number 14. He got 3 early baskets and then turned cold.
Hill, 2 for 2 today.
And Kent now has raised his point total to 7.
And 4 rebounds. Once again, being Iowa's strength.
And Hill hits them both. He has a total of 8 points now. 4.5 left to play in the first half, and Hill is guilty of the foul. And for Kent Hill, the native Kansan, playing against the Jayhawks, his second personal foul. Nobody with more than 2 for Iowa. Armstrong, Horton, and Hill with 2 apiece. For the Jayhawks, there are 4 players with 2 fouls. Kansas on the line, 4:35 left to play in the first half. They trail by 13. As you watch Kansas and Iowa battle, Mac, I think of the link between these two, and there are several, but one that I know is a personal interest to you, Ralph Miller, played for Kansas, coached at Iowa. You're a coach.
And I'll tell you, a very good, solid fundamental coach. Both these teams, solid in fundamentals.
Pritchard has missed 2 in a row from the free throw line.
What a great pass by Bill Jones. Jones makes the decision at the free throw line, bounces it between two Kansas players. Good stop jump right there by Marble, and he gets hammered.
Second foul on Lincoln Minor. Al Lorenzen comes into the lineup.
And you talk about Kansas and Iowa. One other great link between them is true fan following, regardless how good the years are. These two schools have the largest contingent of fans over here in Hawaii.
A 14-point lead, and Marble tries to add to it. And so with Marble in double figures along with Jones, Iowa continues to get excellent scoring from up front, Bo providing the backline scoring, and the Hawkeyes have a 15-point advantage. Manning again with the rebound is Ed Horton, and the Hawkeyes are so much more aggressive on the boards than they were yesterday, almost like two different teams.
A lot of it is due to some game experience and the fact, I think the emotional part of playing Stanford, as we talked about, was critical yesterday. They're talking about, I think, that ball being very wet, very slippery, and they want to just come over and have the official, when the ball was not in contention of being turned over, wipe it off a little bit.
Again, the gym not air conditioned, so it's a warm and humid building. Therefore, depth really becomes a factor in the games played at the Maui Classic. And right now, at least from an experience standpoint, Iowa would have the better of it from a depth standpoint. Minor comes up with a Jayhawk steal. Marshall, who missed all of last year with a knee problem.
A block on Michael Reeves. Let's check this one out. Again, 2-on-1 for Kansas. No support. Reeves, pretty good position.
Pretty good, but not good enough, rules the official. And so Archie Marshall, who was an excellent player and hurt his knee against Duke in the Final Four 2 years ago and missed all of last year with knee surgery, completes the three-point play, and the Jayhawks are back to within 12 of Iowa. 3:35 remains in the first half. Iowa with a very intensely played first half. Jones, Lorenzen. He'll count, and he is fouled by Marshall.
What a super play. Bill Jones getting double teamed. Knew the man had to be open from the weak side because that's where the defender came from. Just dumped a little blind pass to Lorenzen coming down that left lane.
And Lorenzen going strong to the basket. Bo comes back into the lineup.
Watch Iowa. Again on the offensive opportunity after the free throws, setting up that pressure. I think Kansas is asking just a tremendous amount of effort from Danny Manning in this game. He has got to be getting tired.
If Lorenzen hits here, it's a 15-point lead. 50 points on the board in the first half against the Jayhawks, and still 3:23 to play. The Iowa offense indeed in high gear. Masucci, too tall for Manning. Iowa ball.
Masucci, the freshman, just not under control at all that particular time.
14th turnover for the Crimson and Blue from Kansas. Iowa guilty of 13 turnovers. Inside, Marble. Oh, what a shot by Roy Marble.
I'm glad he's a basketball player, but he's got the ability of a gymnast.
A 17-point lead for Iowa. Minor. Pritchard. The long bomb from three. No good by Marshall. Mo to Armstrong. Lorenzen not looking for the pass. The traveling call gives it back to the Jayhawks.
That ball is slippery. That time Armstrong lost control of it a little bit.
Tom Davis has got to be pleased with the first half.
Well, when you have a 17-point lead against the number 8 team in the country with 2:30 left to go, you can be happy at this point. We'll see what the next hour brings.
2 minutes, 34 seconds remain. First half, 17 points. Iowa advantage. Minor. Manning does look weary. Iowa playing the tough zone defense, and Kansas having a tough trying to penetrate it. And they're really not doing a whole lot of moving, are they, Matt?
Well, I was in the zone, and they will pack it in now and say, Kansas, if you want back in this game, you're going to have to do it from the outside.
And the jump hook by Danny Manning gives him 14 points. Bo had a notion. Marble against the double team, and he travels. Give number 14, Kevin Pritchard, a lot of credit there. Leeds and Hill will come in. Lorenzen and Armstrong will exit.
Mark Jewell also in the game.
Minute 54 left to play, and perhaps Tom Davis trying to extend the half by getting his bench or his starters a little more rest in the final 2 minutes. Manning, off balance, doesn't matter, puts it in anyway. 16 points for Danny Manning.
But you got to be careful with Kansas. They can be as explosive offensively as Iowa. You cannot let them get on a run at this point.
Not only the rest factor, but also avoiding a third foul, a factor.
Kansas playing zone. And I'm sure that is to rest the Kansas Jayhawks a little bit.
We're down to 119 in the first half. And Pritchard kicks the ball. Kansas will make a change. Otis Livingston is back into the lineup. But now they're going to get Mike Maddox back in. As Mark Jewell, former Mr. Basketball from the state of Indiana, will trigger. There's number 32, Maddox. Down to 1 minute, 10 seconds. Of course, the new shot clock with the kick by Pritchard. So Iowa has a full 45 to try to penetrate Kansas. 52-39. Hawkeyes with the edge. We're down to the minute mark. And the shot clock down to the 25-second mark. Jewell. Bo. Shot clock down to 14. Hill. Oh, he's been tough inside. That's double figures for Kent Hill in the first half. 10 points. That equals a career high. He got 10 against Iowa State last year.
Bo doing a good job of penetration. Yesterday, he would have taken a shot. Today, under control, he makes the pass.
Shot clock's off. 25 seconds to go in the first half. Kansas trails by 15 points. Kansas bumped off Chaminade, 89-62 in the opener yesterday. Those 89 points, more than they had in any single game last year. 10 seconds to go in the half. 5 seconds. 3 seconds. And a travel against Marble as the horn sounds. The first half has come to a close. An impressive first half for the Hawkeyes. They leave the floor up by 15. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Back at the big lead he had at half, and ended up Stanford lost the game.
Danny Manning not getting as much help as he needs to be effective.
Well, it's the one-man show. It's exactly what Larry Brown was concerned about. And you look at Marshall, 9 points. He's coming off a knee injury. Pritchard started out hot. Have not heard from him. He has 6 points. Minor, Newton, and Livingston really non-factors in that first half.
And nobody in serious foul difficulty for the Jayhawks. 3 Hawkeyes in double figures. And Bill Jones and Roy Marble have done most of that in the paint, as is Kent Hill. High percentage shots, and they've really had to work for them. They've not been easy.
Well, Marble did a very, very good job inside, getting his field goals there and free throws, 7 for 8 from the line. Lorenzen, Horton, and Armstrong. Again, BJ really not heard from much in the first half for the quality guard he is. Larry Brown said he's probably the best point guard in the Midwest.
So it is a 54-39 lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes. In the first half, they were up by as many as 17 points. They currently find themselves up by 15.
I expect Iowa to still stay in that zone in their quarter-court offense, make Kansas beat it from the outside, and make Danny Manning work very, very hard. Again, he had to do everything the first half. Brandt's not a factor. We'll see what happens the second half.
Hawkeyes try to get into the finals of the tournament. We'll have the start of the second half after these local messages. Mac McCausland, the interesting thing about the first half statistics as we look at them is that the baskets are equal. Kansas has 17 baskets. Iowa has 17 baskets. The difference has come at the free throw line.
When you go to the line 23 times, able to make 19 of them, you're going to beat a lot of teams. What worries me at this point for Iowa, 58%. Awfully high percentage in one half. Going to the line 23 times, that's a lot of times. I look for this game to get closer. Kansas will not shoot 43% from that line.
How about the rebound stat? Iowa out-rebounded yesterday by a Stanford team that consider rebounding their weakness, but they have done the job today against the Jayhawks.
Just what Larry Brown talked about. He has a big concern for rebounding help. He did not get it from Branch in that first half. That's why he recruited him. He wants to know where Branch is.
The differential in free throws, is that something that Larry Brown could be legitimately upset about? His team has shot 7 and Iowa shot 23.
You can always be upset about it, but it's not a function of the officiating. It is a function of the type of offense. Tom Davis runs an offense where you get it inside, you look inside, and you create those free throw opportunities because the defense is going to have to foul you or give the great athletes like Marble, Jones, easy offensive layups.
Davis said after the game yesterday that he thought his team may be suffering from the misconception they'd be able to pick right up where they left off last year concerning their offense, their roles, and their timing. Obviously, today they have grown up a lot. Larry Brown trying to figure out how to get his team back in the basketball game. You can always tell the coaches in this tournament because in this unair-conditioned gym, they're the only guys with ties.
And the coats don't last long. In fact, when Tom Davis came into the arena, he had his coat over his shoulder. Coach of the year last year nationally, Coach of the year in the Big Ten. First one ever in the Big Ten to win that award, his first year in the league.
Iowa comes back with the same lineup that opened the ball game. That means Armstrong, Hill, Marble, Lorenzen, and Jones. Marble did not start the opener against Stanford. Moe did, but Moe coming off the bench today, and he's been effective. Inside, Marble can't buy it, and the foul is called on Kent Hill. For Hill, it'll be personal foul number 3, so he becomes the first player on either team with more than 2.
A very good aggressive rebound. Came down the lane. Branch stepped in front of him and had good position. See if the Hawkeyes get back on defense. Kansas in the first 10 minutes of the game really attacked that press.
And Branch steps over the restraining line. Branch played no more than 3 minutes in the first half before he picked up 2 fouls. He never returned, but he is in there to start the ball game as Larry Brown has also gone back to his starting 5, which includes Lincoln Minor, Kevin Pritchard, Archie Marshall, Danny Manning, and Marvin Branch.
Larry Brown just kind of hung his head. Just spent 15 minutes during halftime explaining how to break the press. They didn't even get a pass inbounds.
Larry Brown's team at this point rather inexperienced. 2 of their starters, junior college transfers. But Tom Davis was saying earlier, this might be the time to catch Kansas. They're only going to get better. Hill muscles inside, and for Kent Hill, that is his 12th point, a new career high for the senior from Wichita, Kansas.
What a space occupier on the inside. May not be tall, but he clears people out.
Pritchard makes a move to the baseline. He started out hot, but he's cooled. Manning, the most consistent Kansas offensive performer, now with 18 points. Manning entered this year only the 8th player with 2,000 points after his junior season. On the turnaround, Jones draws the foul on Pritchard.
Good work by the Michigan duo right there. A dump-in pass to Marble. He felt the pressure, just kicked it back out to Jones, who makes a good athletic move. Again, I don't think teams realize Bill Jones is legitimate, 6'7", maybe even a half-inch taller than that. Creates matchup problems for everybody. He's kind of answering that blank we talked about yesterday. Who's going to take the place of Kevin Gamble?
Jones, a 13-point first half and continuing to do the job from the free throw line, 5 out of 6 yesterday. And Jones puts it softly through the course for his 14th point, and the first point for Iowa in the second half is the free throw by Jones. A 16-point lead for Iowa with 18 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the game. The semifinals of the Maui Classic. The winner goes against the Illinois Villanova winner for the championship. The steal and Marble.
Jones, Marble. Again, Kansas has to wonder. They just had a halftime. We talked about breaking the press. They can't get it past midcourt.
And Iowa picking up right where they left off. The pressure on defense, creating the offense. Here's Archie Marshall. Marshall coming back off that knee surgery, also suffered a broken finger in preseason practice, but that is for the most part healed. Pritchard. Branch. Branch, a junior college transfer from Barton, Kansas Junior College. He hails from the Detroit area. And it's a 17-point lead for the Hawkeyes. Jones in a crowd. No basket. Offensive foul on Bill Jones. His second personal foul, second team foul on the Hawkeyes in the second half.
Again, Jones taking it upon himself to create something. It's what lacked a little bit yesterday in the Stanford game. Iowa players stood around. Jones had a good offensive game yesterday. He was really the only one. Doing the same thing again today.
Jeff Moe has checked back in. Manning against Moe. Marshall is open. Lorenzen scrapping with Branch. Last touch by Branch. Iowa ball.
Have to notice if Kansas wants to pick up this defensive intensity, maybe to go to some trapping.
Armstrong only a 2-point first half, but up front, Jones, Marble, and Hill have really done the job. Horton coming off the bench. I would try to move it around. Looking for penetration. Moe cutting back and forth across the lane as Iowa continues to play it on the perimeter. On the drive, Jones stepped out of bounds, and so Kansas gets the ball on the Hawkeye turnover. 17-15 left. Iowa with a 17-point lead. Tom Davis will make another move. Here comes Michael Reeves, who did such a great job defensively yesterday and has done a good job defensively in stages of this ball game. He comes in at the point guard. An open baseline shot by Lincoln Minor. Minor with his second field goal, his 5th point. Moe. 3-point goal for Jeff Moe, his second of the game. And he now has 11 tallies. And Iowa's opened the lead to 18 points. Pritchard. For Kevin Pritchard, his first basket of the second half.
And the Kansas player tapped the ball out of bounds after the made basket to reduce Iowa's secondary break. Kid Hill checks in. Lorenzen goes out. The officials warned the Kansas players maybe next time would be a technical.
Reeves brings it ahead, checked by Minor. Jones. Horton flashing across to take the pass. A push is spotted on the rebound.
And I believe it's going to be Kid Hill, and that would be his 4th.
It is his 4th. Hill, with the 3rd foul called against the Hawkeyes in the second half, will now have to take a seat on the bench. And in to take his place, Mark Jewell, 6'9" sophomore letterman from Lafayette, Indiana. Now, Mark is seeing more playing time early in the season, saw it more against the Italians. He obviously figures into the plan this year up front.
Well, he will not be near the rebounder Ken Hill is, but Mark Jewell is an excellent perimeter shooter. He really has to concentrate on blocking his man out in order to prevent easy offensive rebounds by people like Marshall.
Kansas back to within 14. Again, Iowa's game plan worked the offense to get the high percentage shots. It certainly worked in the first half when Iowa shot 58%. And that's what they're trying to do, get the ball inside. Jewell for Marble. 2 steps in a row by Roy Marble.
Moe trying to take it inside and force it. Not a good play. Hawkeye's got a lucky break.
Pritchard. The move on Moe. Another rebound by Horton. The single most impressive thing to me today, Mac, is Moe shoots another 3. Is the way that Iowa's crashing the board.
People did a great job on moving that. They're only going to give him 2. They gave Moe just 2 on that, I believe.
Now the out official signaled 3. He raised both hands in the air. The inside official says only a 2. Pritchard. Marshall. Manning in a crowd. And a foul on Jewell.
And that is one of Mark's weaknesses, being able to defend physically. Just not strong enough inside. The dump pass by Marshall. Jewell not in position, has to reach. Danny Manning goes to the line.
You know, one of the things that Iowa has done a real good job of today, playing Danny Manning without committing a lot of fouls.
Well, Manning has not gotten himself in good offensive position low because he's had to help break the press. He's had to be outside, get down. Sooner or later, it wears you out. He gets a little tired.
Otis Livingston replaces Lincoln Minor at point guard for the Jayhawks. Manning a chance to become only the 4th player in college basketball history with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 60% field goal shooting. Mac, I know you can tell us who the other 3 are.
Yes, I read the same article.
Oh, okay. Alcindor Robinson has just graduated Navy, and of course Patrick Ewing. 18-point bulge by Iowa. Horton has it taken away by Marshall, who has it poked away from him, and Iowa gets it back. And the timeout will be taken with 14:43 to play. The Hawkeyes lead by 18 on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Production or other use of the accounts and description of this game without the express written consent of the Athletic Association of the University of Iowa is strictly prohibited. 14:40 to go. Iowa looking to go up by 20. And Iowa's got it again.
And they made a scoring correction. They went to 3 points for Jeff Moe. So originally signaled was 3. An official changed it to 2. Now it's back to 3.
And that's where it will stay, right?
I hope. So now it is 68-50. Iowa ahead with 14:25 left to go in the second half.
And again, it has been the guys up front. Jones with 15 and Marble with 16. And from the outside, Moe with 14, who've done the damage. Kent Hill has also been strong inside. He's got a dozen points. Those 4, the bulk of the offense. B.J. Armstrong not scoring much today, but tries to get some here. And it's a rebound by Kansas. Pritchard on the pass for Marshall. Inside it is Otis Livingston. That's his 2nd bucket. And Kansas has sliced the Iowa lead back to 16. A good team like Kansas, Mac, I think you have to figure sooner or later they've got at least one more run left in them, don't you? Is that what Tom Davis has got to be thinking?
And you got to be complacent or worry about complacency of the Iowa team. Right there, B.J. Armstrong runs the baseline, just runs over a Kansas player. And Kansas has gone to a zone defense that last time, just standing around.
Armstrong's 3rd foul. Unofficially, the 5th against Iowa. Reeves and Moe come back into the lineup.
Screen by Jones, and just a step out by Pritchard. Good move by Kansas defensively.
Branch triggers for the Jayhawks. 13.5 left to go, a long time if you're Iowa.
And this is a bit of an unusual lineup for Iowa to have Mark Jewell and Al Lorenzen in at the same time. Both of them are generally considered power forwards. Lorenzen now having to play the post position, and he's back at that defensive end of the court against the press, not known as a shot blocker, and that's what Tom Davis likes back there.
And of course, Kent Hill on the bench with 4 fouls. That pass thrown way away. Bad throw by Manning. The turnover gives the ball back to the Hawkeyes.
Good defense taking away the passing lane of the near player to Manning. Forced that long alley-oop.
Larry Brown not at all happy with the performance of his team today. Iowa's held them to 52 points through the first 27 minutes of the game. Jayhawks back in the zone as Iowa tries to attack it. And away from the ball, there's the foul call. And it's going to be against Kansas.
And Lorenzen is not as like the Kansas players discussing the fact they didn't like the pushing and shoving underneath.
Marshall drawing the personal foul for Marshall. That will be his 3rd.
Ed Horton checks in.
Just over 13 minutes to play. Iowa trying to pad a 16-point lead, 68-52 the current count. Moe from three-point range. And for Jeff Moe, that is 4 three-pointers in the game, 3 here in the second half. In the first half, the scoring came inside. In the second half, it's coming outside. 9 of the points coming from Jeff Moe on three-point goal. What a performance by the Hawkeyes thus far. And Iowa will get another chance to add to the total.
Danny Manning, offensive charge, and now he just throws the ball up in the air. Position in the center. Manning steps right into Jones, elbow with the left side.
Jones had a classic position established there.
And now a technical call on Danny Manning. After that foul, he just threw the ball in the air over his head about 20 feet up. And the official said, that's enough, young man.
So going into the technical situation, the Hawkeyes have a 19-point lead. This, at the 12:40 mark in the game, could really put Iowa in the driver's seat if they convert here. First point of the game for Michael Reeves.
And Danny Manning, not known to be a temperamental player. Usually very cool, under control.
That was Manning's third foul, by the way, so 3 Jayhawks have 3 fouls. All are starters, Manning and Pritchard, along with Marshall. Iowa up by an even 20, 12 and a half to play.
We'll have to check. That may have been Manning's 4th foul.
Horton. And the foul call on Bill Jones. Now the official score, about ready to send Roy Marble back into the lineup for Iowa. There he comes. Roy with a 16-point game thus far. Jones sits down and gets a good round of applause from the hundreds of Hawkeye fans who have accompanied Iowa to the islands. An Iowa victory puts them in the championship game in the Maui Classic against the winner of the Illinois-Villanova game.
Kansas went to set up a defensive signal. He got in the free throw line to talk, and Jeff Moe stuck his head in there. Kansas player pushed him away.
Marshall on the line. He had hit his first free throw in the first half. Misfires there.
Eddie Horton picking up the foul.
That's his third. And so Iowa doing a much better job in that rebounding situation off free throws of the opponents than they were yesterday. But that time, Horton overly aggressive. He will now go to the bench with his third foul.
But Ken Hill has to come in, and he has got 4 fouls. But Tom Davis wants to talk to Ed Horton, settle him down, and see how vital it's going to be to keep him in the game, knowing that Ken Hill has that 4th foul.
Branch, a second-team junior college All-American a year ago, takes the free throw. If he hits here, it's an 18-point Iowa lead. Branch, well-traveled, started his college career at a junior college in New Jersey, then went to Barton County, Kansas, junior college, and then as Matt Kojic signed with Pittsburgh before finally landing in Lawrence. Marble!
And the penetration in the basket made by Michael Reeves.
18 for Roy Marble. 6 here in the second half. Livingston, nice pass to Branch. That time Iowa just didn't get down quickly enough. Marble has the pass go off his fingertips, and it will be Kansas basketball.
This is racetrack basketball. 6 furlongs long.
And so there's a timeout with 11:55 to go, and we'll return after these words from your local station. With the official score, and we just did a moment ago and found out that Danny Manning, in fact, does have 3 fouls, not the 4 that we thought it was possible. By the way, I said that was a Kansas assistant. Just as he's wearing a blue blazer, I thought maybe he was a Kansas assistant. That's Iowa's senior manager.
Yes, it is. Over there checking the foul situation for both teams and the timeouts. As there's 11:55 left to go in the game, it's critical to keep track of those items.
Iowa with an 18-point lead over a team ranked 7th and 8th by the wire service polls in the country. Inside, Manning loses. Manning tried to make that spin move, but did it without the basketball.
Again, slippery ball caused that turnover for Kansas. And that's their 4th in this half.
And their 18th of the ball game. 11:40 remains. Iowa tries to go up by 20. Iowa's offense really clicking today. Moe from the corner. Another three-point shot for Jeff Moe. That is his fourth of the half, his fifth of the game. And after being 1 of 6 from three-point range yesterday, Jeff Moe has found the target. Pritchard for Kansas. Oh, Jeff Moe really responding to coming off the bench after starting yesterday.
But you notice Kansas cannot retaliate with three-point shooters. They can shoot it well from the 2.17-foot range.
It's a great athletic move by Roy Marble to save the ball. Just under 11 to go. A 19-point lead for the Hawks. Hill against Branch. And for Branch, it's foul number 3. And Kent Hill, who is laboring under the difficulty of 4 personal fouls, goes to the line for Iowa. As you look at Branch, who is having a little bit of a tough time transitioning from junior college to the major college game. Foul trouble yesterday. Fouled out in 16 minutes. He's got 3 fouls now and has missed most of this game due to fouls. Into the Kansas lineup, number 44 is Masucci. Number 21 is Newton. Mike Masucci is a 6'10 freshman out of Grandview, Missouri. Milt Newton, a 6'4.5 junior from Washington, D.C. Hill with a career-high 13 points. His previous best, 10 last year against Iowa State. Last year, Kent, a 61% free throw shooter, but as the graphic told you a moment ago, he hasn't missed today. Now Horton comes back in, and with those 4 fouls, Hill will sit down.
Good effort by Kent Hill. Now it's important for Eddie Horton to get into the game mentally. He's had problems today really getting into the flow.
A lot of coaches say at the 10-minute mark in the ballgame, either if you're behind, you're going to mount your run or you're not. We've now approached the 10-minute mark in the ballgame. Do you feel that way? It happens now or never?
It's better for Kansas if they want to get back into the game because Iowa has really worn them down. You don't see near the racehorse up and down basketball by the perimeter people that you did the first half of Kansas.
Minor to inbound. There's Masucci and Pritchard, a young team on the floor for Kansas right now. The lone senior, Danny Manning. Newton. And the rebound is claimed by Horton, and Iowa continues to have a lock on the board. Marble moves around Pritchard. And trying to get it back, Horton draws the foul, and now he has 4. So Iowa's top 2 pivots, Hill and Horton, 4 fouls apiece.
And Eddie Horton, a very good friend of Danny Manning. A mistake by Marble, driving, getting behind the basket, nowhere to go with the basketball. Masucci just deflects it, and then Horton reaching, grabbing, and picks up that foul.
And so now Kent Hill comes back into the ball game. Kent playing against the team from his home state, obviously pumped up, and he has responded with a career best. A highly recruited player, Mike Masucci, on the line for Kansas. Mac, there were a lot of schools interested in him.
Well, Mike Masucci, the scouting report on him out of high school is he might be a little soft. He might be a perimeter player, and he does have excellent touch. But Kansas needs him for height and rebounding.
Speaking of excellent touch, that's a shot Danny Manning won't miss too often. And Iowa guilty of the foul as Mark Jewell will come into the lineup. And leaving will be Al Lorenzen.
Iowa will now probably zone the ball. And look for Kansas to use Manning.
Minor from Masucci. Nice move off the inbound play for the first basket of the game for Mike Masucci. 79-61. Iowa's got the lead, just under 10 minutes to go. Marble. And that's one of his favorite places on the floor. He's got 20 points.
That's what he should have done last time rather than drive it behind the basket. Take the 10-foot jump shot.
Marshall. Pritchard. Minor. And Hill yet another rebound. Mac, you're certainly no stranger to Hawkeye telecast. How many times have you seen Kent Hill play any better? As Larry Brown trying to get his team back into the ballgame and very unhappy with Lincoln Minor. He was upset with Minor when we watched practice the other day. He's had his problems with Lincoln Minor trying to get adjusted to the major college game from junior college.
Lincoln Minor is really an off guard. He is not a point guard. Larry Brown has asked him to play that position because he can't find anybody else.
Again, Kansas lost 2. Hunter and Turgeon due to graduation. Good effort by Hill trying to save. He travels, though, and Kansas gets the ball.
And Kent Hill, 7 rebounds, and right there is 8th rebound opportunity. As he grabbed it, a travel.
I started to ask a moment ago about Kent Hill and the number of times you've seen him. How does today's performance impress you?
This is his best, without question. And a lot of it is confidence. You got to remember, this was George Ravling's first player he recruited when he came to Iowa as head coach. And Kent Hill has not played much. He had a redshirt year. This is his first extended playing opportunities, although he did get some time early last year when Gary Wright was injured.
Masucci to Pritchard, and Kansas pedals up the floor with just over 9 to go. They need to make up a 20-point deficit. Pritchard off the pick by Masucci. And Iowa comes out with it. Mark Jewell, an aggressive move to pull down the rebound. Jones, who was hot in the first half. Armstrong, who's been held to 2 points, but has not shot that much. Jewell works it inside. And it's touched by Pritchard last. Iowa ball. Now 8.5 remains, and the Iowa lead is 20.
Mark Jewell really needs to get himself in a set position, ready to shoot the ball. He's just looking to pass. Kansas can sag off him right now.
Lincoln Minor back for Kansas. Leaving will be Otis Livingston.
Look for Marble to get this inbounds pass if they can.
But they can't. So now Jones. Now Armstrong for 3. BJ's second basket. He rings the nets for a 3-point goal. That for Iowa, their 5th 3-point shot in the second half. And Iowa's got their biggest lead at 84-61, a 23-point bulge. Iowa has not slacked off in their intensity from the opening bell, and that has really got to please Coach Davis, as from long range, a 3-pointer good by Marshall, his 3rd 3-point goal. Jones.
Call something. Oh. Now how can you call travel? He's in the air. He's in the air. You can't call travel. I mean, 2 people hit him, mug him. Where's the travel? The official just couldn't see it. He's blocked out.
And we'll return shortly from Maui on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Western Communications Management and approved by the University of Iowa. If the Hawkeyes hang on, and now they lead by 20, they'll move into the championship game against the winner of Illinois and Villanova. And that game will be seen not on the Hawkeye Sports Network, but on ESPN, so the entire nation can look in on the Iowa Hawkeyes. If that's the case, then our next telecast will come up Tuesday night at 7 o'clock when Iowa flies all night, returns home to take on the Drake Bulldogs.
And they should be ready for the Drake Bulldogs regardless what happens. That flight takes a lot out of you. It'll be very little practice time. It'll be the 4th game in 5 days for the Hawkeyes.
By the way, the championship game will be at midnight on ESPN.
And I would look to see the University of Illinois in that. We had an opportunity to watch the games yesterday. Illinois loaded with 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" athletes. Kenny Battle put on a show yesterday. And they've got Nick Anderson also ready to perform for the Illini.
And as you see, Horton has gone to the bench with 7:51 to play. Ed Horton, a total of 3 points as he fouls out.
And just 3 rebounds out of Ed Horton. You cannot have that kind of performance out of Ed Horton and expect to do well in the wars of the Big Ten on those backboards.
But again, one of the things that's bothering Ed Horton is physically he's not close to being there yet, is he?
Well, still probably about 70% as far as conditioning. And after a severe sprain, you just don't want to go up into the air. You're a little afraid of you coming down on somebody else's foot.
Of course, conditioning is one thing, and yet timing may be even more important in his case. Iowa, 20-point lead and the ball. And it will belong to the Hawkeyes. Kicked out of bounds by Kansas. 7:28 to go. Iowa trying to put together a victory against a team ranked in the top 10, ranked as high as #1 in the country by one basketball publication.
It's critical now that Kent Hill watch his next opportunity defensively. Kansas will probably go after him. He's got 4 fouls. And that would really hurt Iowa to have both Hill and Horton, who are their 2 most physical players and strong rebounders.
And BJ can't tightrope the sideline, so the ball goes back to the Jayhawks.
We'll see if the Jayhawks recognize Kent Hill having those 4 fouls.
The freshman from Grandview, Missouri, Mike Masucci, to inbound with Lorenzen trying to bother him. Pritchard runs it down. There is Marshall. Archie Marshall. Now the Hawkeyes, they take a little bit of time off the shot clock with 7:11 to play and into foul difficulty. Hill, though, takes it in. Rejection by Manning, indeed. A volleyball spike.
And that even brought a smile from Bill Jones. He goes, oh, my, I'm glad it wasn't my shot. That's embarrassing back in Detroit.
A lot of hand on the leather that time. Marble, who, by the way, roomed with Manning at the sports festival when they both played for the North team, comes in.
And it was coached by Larry Brown.
Marble bumped by Manning, and Manning has drawn his 4th. Manning becomes the first Jayhawk with more than 3. So now both teams have critical players in foul difficulty. For Iowa, Horton already out, Hill with 4, and Danny Manning, the Kansas All-American, draws his 4th.
And you can be sure that Michael Reeves, the point guard, will recognize. Now Manning goes out. I was just going to say that they will work against Manning, but he leaves the game.
Marvin Branch in to take his place as Manning goes to the Jayhawk bench with 6:58 to play, and his team trailing by 18, pending the Marble free throw. 20 for Roy Marble after just 7 points against Stanford. Roy very unhappy with his game yesterday, although for a stretch in the game that he took over and gave Iowa the lead, we made him our star of the game, and the Iowa coaches said they had no disagreement with that. They felt he deserved it. Livingston. Pritchard. Kansas a long way to climb, running out of time. Lorenzen gets the rebound and gets fouled by Pritchard. 4th foul on Kevin Pritchard. So now 2 Jayhawk starters with 4 fouls apiece.
And the Kansas Jayhawks are starting to hang their head. They're a little tired walking back. And again, the depth of the Iowa team has proven to really be the stun and run offense that you saw yesterday in the second half and today and throughout the entire game. Teams are just do not understand how the Iowa team keeps coming at you, offensively, defensively. You just start shaking your head saying, get away from me, Hawkeyes.
Milt Newton has come into the Kansas lineup. Killed the lob for Marble.
Yeah, right there, that way.
And it is out of bounds off of Iowa. Kansas ball.
Really a forced opportunity by Marble. Got in midair, nothing to do with the ball.
Pritchard up the middle of the floor. Newton. And another defensive rebound for Lorenzen. The Hawkeyes run. Moe gets fouled. Pritchard is fouled out. Moe has a chance at a 3-point play.
I thought maybe Jeff Moe was going to put on a dunk show the other day in practice. The missed opportunity. Lorenzen rips the rebound, knows where Reeves is. Reeves, a good bounce pass, comes right up to Moe. Pritchard hanging on that left shoulder. Up, once jump, and in. As I was saying the other day in practice, Jeff Moe went ahead on the same opportunity like that, went up and dunked it, and brought hoots and howls from the teammates, including a big smile from Tom Davis. I don't think Coach Davis thought Jeff Moe could dunk the ball.
Davis kind of fell back in a fake fade after he saw Moe get up that high. Manning has come back in for Pritchard, who fouled out, and for Danny Manning, that is 21 points.
It is now or never for Kansas. That's why Manning is back. Momentum has definitely been Iowa.
5:55 to go, and it's 87-68 in favor of the Hawkeyes. Moe is called for the travel. Good defense by Lincoln Minor to force it.
There's just no way that official could have seen that. The official right in front of it looked and shrugged his shoulders as Michael Reeves came over and said, "How'd he call that?"
Jeff Moe, 22 points. Minor. Third basket of the second half, fourth of the game, 9 points for Lincoln Minor. A 17-point lead for Iowa, 5.5 remain. Jewell. And now Branch is being pursued by the entire Hawkeye team. Branch is swinging at Reeves. The coaches are out there trying to separate them. The nerves have been raw from just about the outset of the ball game. Branch took a swing. That's what precipitated it.
Marble and Manning get together. As you said, they were roommates at the Olympic Festival.
Here's where it started.
A double team. Branch and Reeves mess with each other.
Look at that shot.
A left hook by Branch. It would be interesting if we could see that again and see how the fight started.
Looked like Reeves may have even thrown an elbow. That's a possibility. See right there.
Left elbow by Michael Reeves gets the ribs of Branch. Branch reaches back in. Reeves stepping through, used his left elbow, and maybe gave a little shot to Branch. And that started it all. Michael Reeves yesterday involved with Todd Lichty. A little intimidation.
Well, it's a warm and humid gym, and the emotions run just as hot as the temperature, and they really have throughout the tournament, as you say, yesterday and again today, and now the officials huddle to try to determine what they're going to call and what they're going to do to control the situation.
And they have all kinds of options. They can talk intentional foul. They can talk just a normal foul. They can throw people out for flagrant and intentional fouls. They'll probably go talk to the coaches and let them know individually what they've decided.
The referee, Jim McDaniel, he's the one who is explaining things to Larry Brown. Alvin Gentry, Brown's assistant, with his back to you on the right. And so the situation being explained to the fans, and there's been an ejection.
Further, for your clarification, there's been a technical foul called on both benches due to the fact that players from both benches went on the court. It'll be a two-shot foul with Iowa shooting.
You heard Chuck Williams explain it. Branch has been ejected from the game. Technical fouls whistled to both benches. That's a new rule this year, Mac, where when they come off the bench in a situation like that, those kind of technical fouls are called. It's an automatic technical when players leave the bench, an automatic technical against the bench when a player leaves in a fight situation.
And right now you have the flagrant personal on Branch ejected from the game. He is gone, and he's looking at his jaw. I don't know how he could look at his jaw. I don't know if anybody hit him.
We know that he got in one pretty solid blow. And so technicals whistled against both benches. And again, that's a new rule in college basketball this year when players leave the bench in a fight situation. Reeves with his second point. Reeves has taken off about 20 pounds over last year. He has really played well defensively in preseason practice and in the early moments of the season. There was a personal foul and a technical foul called, so that's why Reeves is shooting as many fouls as he is. He was fouled in that confrontation that you saw where he got the double team. So Reeves has now hit the 1-and-1 and now hit the technical fouls. So he goes 4 for 4 in that opportunity. Now we go to the other end of the floor, and Kansas will be shooting the technical fouls only. And again, that's because players left the bench in a fight situation. Manning, because it's a technical against the bench, shooting 2. 22 for Manning. His average on the season last year was just about 24 a game. And that's what he had yesterday against Chaminade. So just an average day at the gym for Danny Manning, 23 points.
amateur boxing at its best.
Now they decide on the alternating possession rule. That's who gets the ball, and so therefore it'll be Kansas with it. So the technicals have been assessed against both benches. Play resumes with 5:24 to play, and the Hawkeyes enjoying a 19-point margin. And the officials, you can figure, are now going to call the game even a little more closer so that raw feelings don't escalate. The job now for Kansas inside of the All-American. Manning misfires there. And a swinging the elbows foul is going to be called.
And they
have ruled an intentional foul.
They call that an intentional foul. That's a new rule too this year. If you swing your elbows to clear it, but you have to be able to at least establish your area. He comes down, one swing to clear himself, and they call the intentional.
Lorenzen with his second foul. And of course, the new rule in college basketball this year, the intentional foul is 2 free throws and a possession.
Right. So it becomes a violation.
So this ball game now beginning to take on some of the characteristics of the World Wrestling Federation. But I just said a moment ago, you know now the officials are going to call everything to try to keep tempers under control.
It'll be another minute or so until this game regains any kind of tempo. Terrible shots there by Manning.
Manning looks tired, and that was the Hawkeye game plan, to make him work defensively to wear him out.
And offensively he's had to, as we've said. He tried to break the press. He had to come down and give the guards help.
Marshall inside. And Marshall, who missed all of last year with the knee injury, has done a good job coming back. He has got 3 three-point goals and a total in the ball game of 16 points. Clock under 5 minutes as Marble dishes it out, and a foul is going to be called on Masucci, I believe. Or no, wait a second.
They're going to call 3-second violation. Branch, quick step in, wide open, goes up. Lazy defense by the Hawkeyes.
And now Kansas on the attack again. Manning tries to dribble between 2 Hawkeyes and will be called for an offensive foul and will foul out of the ball game. That time Danny Manning came down. 2 Hawkeyes had their position established right in front of him, but I think the frustration bothering Danny Manning there, he decided to go in anyway, even though he knew there was no way. And so Manning fouls out with 4:31 to go and a total of 23 points.
With the bench fight, with about a 3 or 4 minute delay, this game just lost tempo, and now it's become a one-on-one situation. Danny Manning finishing with 23 points in the game, but it was just a lack of tempo in this game, I think, that gave him that 5th foul.
Iowa up 91-74, 4:20 to go. And the Hawkeyes are headed for the championship game in the Maui Classic. Blocking it is Mike Maddox. He came in for Manning. Maddox, number 32, a freshman from Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma Player of the Year. Muscling inside, Hill. And he traveled on the way in, and so the ball belongs to the Kansas Jayhawks.
It was kind of like Easter right there. Hop, skip, jump, bunny time. Ken Hill picked up for traveling violation.
Very good chance that the Hawkeyes will face a Big Ten rival in the championship game, as in the other semifinal, it'll be Illinois against Villanova. Villanova, a very young basketball team, and the Illini would have to be heavily favored.
Without Manning, the inside leadership is gone. Maddox, a freshman, not understanding where he's supposed to be.
Minor will try. Marshall had the rebound, but a foul spotted first. And it's going to be against Marshall.
And Larry Brown says, what else can go wrong? Branch is out, Manning's out.
And now Brown getting ready to go back to his bench for Jeff Geldner, sophomore letterman out of Charleston, Illinois. Geldner comes in. Marshall picking up his 4th foul. Leaving the lineup will be Lincoln Minor.
We talked at the top of the game, keys to the game to Hawkeyes to win. Danny Manning, have to hold him under 30 points. Finishes with 23, and he can't score from the bench. He's out with 5.
You also talked about the point guards at the start of the game, and it's obvious the Kansas point guards really lack experience. They just don't run the offense smoothly.
They do a pretty good job off a break when they can fill lanes, but when they have to run a quarter-court offense, they really have problems with it. And B.J. Armstrong, not an outstanding game there today. Michael Reeves, very, very good.
And there's a timeout with 3:43 to play. We'll return from Maui with the Hawkeyes headed to the championship game after these words from your local station. That's it. 4 big fans at the corners of the court, and that puts a premium on the play of the benches because players wilt quickly in the heat and humidity of the Lahaina Civic Center. But as you can tell, Iowa has not wilted.
Right there's Danny Manning, 25 points. Matt Bullard told me earlier when he was at Colorado as a freshman, he went up for a shot and got it just blocked out of bounds by Danny Manning. As the ball went out of bounds, Manning went over to him and said, "Hey, Matt, next time lean into me, make me foul you."
You mean he plays and he coaches as well, huh?
And he helped out more than once. Matt said another time that he went down to lay it off the glass. Again, Manning spotted it, put it out of bounds, and he came over to him and said, "Matt, next time, dunk it on me." It's the type of kid Danny Manning is. He likes to see basketball played and played right, and he helped a young opponent, Matt Bullard, who, of course, now is at Iowa as a transfer from Colorado.
That, by the way, was Masucci on the basket for Kansas. Jones in deep for Iowa, and the foul called on the Jayhawks, and they're calling it on Jeff Gelder. It'll be his second personal foul. So Bill Jones will go to the line with Iowa up 93-76. So I said at the start of the ball game, I asked you, Mac, what can't Danny Manning do? Obviously, he can play all 3 positions. He can pass. He can play defense. He can coach, too, huh?
He can do it all. I'll tell you what he can't do is he can't do it all by himself. Kansas will be a good team, but they have work to go with the young people they've got and also the junior college players that have come in.
Basket will count by Gelder, and a foul is called on Iowa. And we'll get another look.
Hesitation move, 3 Iowans in position. B.J. Armstrong, pretty good. Right there, taking the charge, and it will go to the other end.
And so the foul called on Kansas on the charge. Gelder with his first basket, his 3rd foul. And Lorenzen will go to the line. That's about what the 4th charging foul that Iowa's picked up on Kansas. Jeff Moe checking back into the Iowa attack. Leading will be Kent Hill. Hill gets a good round of applause from the Hawkeye faithful, as well he should. Maybe the best game of his Iowa career.
And that's where we talk about the point guards of Kansas. Otis Livingston taking that ball too far inside, getting that charge call. He could have stopped at 15 feet and had an open shot.
And Al Lorenzen putting together a solid performance to go with the dozen points that he scored yesterday against Stanford. 9 in this game, and it is 95-78. Exactly 3 to play. The Hawkeyes are headed to the championship game in the Maui tournament. On the drive, Livingston.
And once again, Livingston trying to create something that's not there. And Livingston should be the answer to the point guard position. Larry Brown recruited him after he averaged almost 13 assists at El Camino Junior College. He's got to be able to shoot the ball. That may be the negative thing. The thing he cannot do is be an outside shooter.
Last time Kansas gave up 100 points in a game was the 4th game of last year when Arkansas shocked them down in Fayetteville, 103-86.
And of course,
Iowa's now 5 points away from that with 2:50 to play.
And Iowa last year scored 100 points the first time ever against the Bobby Knight coach team at home when they were reeling off 18 straight victories, being #1 in the country.
Well, I would imagine that there are not too many times that Larry Brown teams have 100 scored on them.
Not unless his teams are scoring 110.
Lorenzen's 11, evenly divided, 5 first half, 6 second half, 2:48 to play. A 19-point lead by the Hawkeyes, who have really been impressive. Both ends of the floor. The 3-point try by Gelder. And another Hawkeye rebound. The job on the glass, one of the big stories today, man.
Well, Iowa much more aggressive. Ken Hill, really an outstanding job of 9 rebounds. And Roy Marble started to assert himself. He got himself 5 rebounds.
The regulars will retire the next time the ball is dead because there are 4 Hawkeyes ready to come into the game. And here they come. Jepson, Jewell, Reeves, and Morgan in. And listen to the Hawkeye crowd. And so the starters will enjoy the final moments of this victory over the Kansas Jayhawks. From the Hawkeye bench of Coach Tom Davis, Bruce Pearl is assistant, seated next to him there. And they have got to be a happy coaching staff.
One thing about it, too, in a tournament, you have very little game preparation time. The only time Iowa really got to get together was under a palm tree today, and they walked through some of the Kansas offenses and defenses. Scouting was done by Gary Close. Another excellent job by Coach Close.
And no practice time on the floor. Mo for three. Masucci. And that time Maddox hit the underside of the rim as he tried to come up. Iowa basketball. The Hawkeyes with a 97-78 lead. 1.5 to go. What a move by Reeves.
I'll tell you, it's Rocky Reeves.
Got to see this one again, Mac.
Penetration by Mo. Athletic move taken out of the storybook of Roy Marble. Double clutch, triple clutch, get it up there. Michael Reeves, Milledgeville, Georgia.
Newton the foul. Reeves with 8.
And that is triple digits. The clock turns over. It's 100 points.
1:20 to play. Maddox can't get it from 3. The Iowa offense has struggled so much for 30 minutes against Stanford. Has been playing well from the opening bell today.
The only time the offense struggled was at halftime when they couldn't shoot.
Boy, that's true, isn't it? Jewell penetrates to the pass to Jepson.
Les Jepson keeps coming and coming as an offensive player. Has good post moves, can shoot it well from 15 feet.
No basket due to the travel. Larry Brown has suffered through a long, long afternoon.
Excedrin Heddy, number 116.
He's no longer going to think the islands is such a great vacation spot. Reeves leads the break. Will Morgan had it bounce off his fingertips. So it's on to the championship game in the Maui Classic for the Hawkeyes against either Illinois or Villanova. The game to be seen on ESPN at midnight tomorrow. And then our next telecast on the Hawkeye Sports Network will come up Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Iowa's home opener against the Drake Bulldogs. That will be the first of 4 in a row at home for the Hawks. Coming up Friday and Saturday, the Amana Hawkeye Classic, UC Irvine, Jacksonville, and Navy joining Iowa. Newton. First basket of the second half. We're down to the final 18 seconds of this Hawkeye victory as Iowa pushes the record to 2-0 on the season, and they'll pin Kansas with their first loss. Jewell is short and then stumbles into Newton. Iowa with a 20-point edge, 4 seconds to play, and the basketball world will set up and take note of the Hawkeyes for dismantling the Jayhawks today. Tom Davis working his way down the Hawkeye bench, congratulating everybody on a very, very impressive victory. As Matt pointed out, especially impressive from the standpoint no floor time in preparation for this game. Less than 24 hours after stepping off the floor in a hard-fought victory over Stanford, Iowa had to come back and try it again. The horn sounds, a 19-point victory for the Iowa Hawkeyes over Larry Brown's Kansas Jayhawks. There's the final. Iowa with a 181 victory over Kansas. Back with more in a moment on the Hawkeye Sports Network.